Retweeted with comment.
Mics are on.
Mics are on.
Oh, shit.
Who's Mike? And why is he on?
Ooh.
See what I did there? That's pretty. It was
Mike's not a good person.
No, he's not. You know, I said almost the exact same thing you did.
What's that?
So you said retweeted with comment, and then you did hashtag Mandalorian. I just did, look, I retweeted with a comment. That's good.
Yeah, well, the use of the hashtag is the only thing that matters, right? Right? Is that how that works?
Juno was actually saying that hashtags, right, don't matter as much anymore.
Yeah, I mean, you really should only use one.
Yeah.
Oh, I
that.
did.
If that, even.
Because keywords will just appear in trends and stuff,
Yeah.
right? On Twitter, at least.
It doesn't really matter anymore.
That's
In
crazy.
fact, nothing really matters
Space
on
dust.
social media. I mean, the social media, like, the thing with social media is you're at will to the companies and the rules that they make for their algorithm, so it's always changing.
The algorithm.
And you don't know all the rules for the algorithm either.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah. For anyone joining, welcome. We're about to do a podcast on the first 2 episodes of The Mandalorian. Goes without saying, this will be a lot of spoilers. So if you haven't seen Mandalorian and you have interest in watching it, then obviously you should turn away and go watch those 2 episodes first.
We should be dicks and just say Baby Yoda.
Well, we already prefaced it with the spoilers, so we're in the clear now.
We could be further dicks and say, Baby Luke.
Well, you hesitated, so there's like no confidence in
Yes.
that.
No, it wasn't a hesitation. It was a dramatic pause.
Or you're trying to think of
You're trying to think
bigger,
of something. Yeah.
bigger than Baby Yoda, and I'm sorry, Baby Luke.
How about
is-
this?
is
How about
dead.
this? This is even better. Snape killed Dumbledore.
Wow, you've ruined the dreams.
I didn't
and
even
hopes
know
of many
that.
people.
Also,
Didn't
guys,
even
I don't
know
know
that's
if
how
you
Star
knew
Trek
this
ended.
about Star Wars, but Darth Vader's Luke's father. Like, holy shitballs.
Oh my God, we haven't actually started the pod yet. We are just this is our pre-pod stream thing. We're about to start. We're just getting technical stuff set up. If you have any questions or comments, definitely leave them below. Robert Crowder, welcome. Robert Crowder
Robbie
has
Crowder.
commented, "Spoil me."
Spoil me,
All
Jesus. That's weird.
Oh, Crowder. Very poignant comment here. Baby Yaddle. You're right. We are partial to Yoda, but we know there is another whatever species that is.
It's true.
Yaddle.
We don't
Maybe
even
it's
know.
Baby Yaddle.
We don't even know if
good
it's
call.
we don't know if it's a boy or girl.
You know, yeah,
True.
Yaddle is literally on the screen for I think 30 seconds, and she may potentially play one of the most like important roles in Star Wars history.
Was she in Attack of the Clones?
She was not on screen in Attack. She's only on screen in episode 1.
I think it's
episode 1,
episode 2.
Phantom Menace,
She's
right.
because I was doing some research and I believe it's episode 2.
She leaves the Jedi Order just before the Attack of the Clones. Like,
Because Yoda knocked her up.
that's my
and was
thinking.
And was like, "Listen, you gotta go. You're gonna ruin my status." She got me too.
Oh fuck, Christian, Jesus!
Just kidding.
Oh no,
That's potentially
Oh,
that's
no.
potentially
All right,
explosive.
we ready?
That is.
I think
actually,
we're ready.
All right, I'm going to start the record.
The coffee's kicking in. This is good.
This is great. All right, here we go. Oh no, I got fucking coffee on my keyboard.
Where's
And
your
that's the intro.
Where's your coaster?
Oh boy, things just got awkward.
He doesn't even realize.
He's
I'm
not even
talking
like
to him.
he's talking to you.
Oh yeah. I'm looking around. I'm like, I don't have one.
All right, here we go. Here's the crackpot intro for the podcast. Was The Mandalorian episodes 1 and 2 good? That's what the Was It Good podcast is going to find out. As always, you're joined by me, Ravi, and my 2 brothers, Christian and Arjuna. We're going to talk about Baby Yoda theories and how Disney's first live-action Star Wars series stacks up to the competition. Fun fact, I don't really feel like there's competition with this series.
Wow.
It's its own thing.
Basically.
Well, I guess the competition would be Apple TV, right? The
Like the
original-
show, yeah, I guess.
The shows,
yeah.
the shows that were released there, right? They're released so closely together. So the competition would be C and the morning show and the other ones that everyone forgets what they're called.
There is no competition.
I mean, this is truly the start of the epic streaming wars, which is basically the repeat of the cable wars.
Yeah, but it feels like the streaming wars are already over.
Yes, I feel like Disney won. It was great. Good try, everyone. Good show, good show, good show.
Like NBC shouldn't bother with the Peacock. Warner Brothers shouldn't bother with HBO Max.
Like,
Wait,
just
wait,
give
wait, wait.
up.
just it's over.
The Peacock?
That's what
they're
they're
gonna call their
their
streaming
NBC
service.
one.
Peacock.
Peacock.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
The cock.
Anyway, we're not talking about the streaming wars. Maybe we'll do a podcast in a couple of years when we're bought out by the big company, whatever the big company is. Anyway, we're talking Mandalorian. Guys,
Oh my god.
guys, it's finally here. Not the podcast. The live action Star Wars series. The thing that I personally was more excited for than the stupid
Episode
sequel
9?
series and
Oh.
episode 9 and all that crap. So, as always, our one-word impressions. What are they? Christian, you're bald, so you go first.
My one word impression is meticulous.
Wow.
I think it's clearly obvious
That's
from
boring.
the first 2 episodes that the creators put in a lot of work, time into the details of the show. Also, the cinematography is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just amazing. The visuals are stunning, and you can tell from the way the story has sort of started that we're in for a ride. And so I just think a lot of attention has been paid to these details, so that's why meticulous
Mr.
is my one word.
Mr. Host, can I have a one-word impression to Christian's one-word impression?
Yes, we
I already
get
know
as
what it
meta
is.
as fuck
It
on
sucks.
this.
What?
Your word sucks.
That's not a one
I actually
word.
think that's one of your better one-word impressions ever.
You don't like Incrediballs?
No, because it's not a fucking word.
What about Amazeballs?
Amazeballs? No, it's not.
You thought about it.
I did actually for like a millisecond. Arjuna, what's your one-word impression?
I'm gonna go with tickled.
What the fuck? No, no. You can't. No,
Yeah, I'm gonna go tickled.
no. That
Interesting.
feels wrong.
No, my
No.
curiosity is tickled by
Oh
the show.
Oh my
No,
god.
my real one-word impression is intrigued.
Mm.
It's an intriguing show. We're gonna get into our general thoughts on each episode, but the first episode obviously leaves you with the big reveal of Baby Yoda, as everyone's calling him, and you're intrigued by that. And I believe the second episode is also intriguing with just where the show is going. I really liked the marketing up to the show. You didn't really know what it was about besides being about the Mandalorian, and you still, even 2 episodes in, like, you kind of have an idea, but there's so much. You're building a world within a world that's already vast and large and crazy, and I'm intrigued. I think it's done its job as a Star Wars media, intriguing you.
Yes, yeah. I think you're absolutely right. And honestly, even though you said my word sucks, that actually just ties into everything I said. So you're
Yeah,
a
you
thief.
kind of copied him.
You're,
But I
you're
mean,
a thief.
you took it. I mean, tickled is just fucking hilarious.
Tickled. You should have let me.
You should have just stuck with your guns, man.
Yeah, I would have. I mean, I kind of lost it there for a second with tickled.
Tickled.
That's good. I feel like I'm about to. I can't. What the fuck?
All right, I'll go back to you. So I'm gonna go tickled because
Because everyone likes it.
I actually have the prototype of the Baby Yoda toy, and the Baby Yoda toy walks around like a puppet, and it just tickles me with the Force.
Oh my god. Okay. All right. Tickled is your one-word impression. My one-word impression, and this is gonna sound really, really
Negative.
not negative.
CGI.
No. It's going to appear inauthentic, but I am being authentic when I say it. Happy.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Like this series has brought true happiness, joy and happiness to my black and broken heart
over Star Wars.
over Star Wars, because it is the first product. I would say it's like the first big product that they've come out with
In the Disney
since
era.
in the Disney era, where I'm actually like, oh, cool. I'm actually glad to be a Star Wars fan again. It's not like a movie that Twitter is destroying and ripping apart because of certain sexes and races. It's not an animated series that looks like a 2-year-old did it. It's not a product of Lego that's been like overpriced to a point where I'm like, God damn it! It's truly something unique,
Yeah.
interesting, fun, and then it's true to what Star Wars is for me. And then it's also true from like a new pushing the boundaries, cinematography, beautiful, well done series. Like if you remove the title Star Wars, you have a decent, interesting story.
Dune, the TV show.
Dune.
You could argue, yeah, Dune, but Dune itself is basically a Western as well.
course, yeah.
So it's that true to thing like Western. So happy.
You would say it's given you a new hope.
Yes.
Wait.
Yes, The Mandalorian has given me a new hope.
Wait. Just real
Wow.
quick. There's a simple yes or no. Is this the first thing that's truly felt like Star Wars since Return of the Jedi?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is wild.
What about the Phantom Menace?
Force Awakens was supposed to be basically an updated version of A New Hope.
Yeah.
But even that failed.
Yeah.
Tragically, unfortunately.
For sure.
But this definitely feels like, oh shit, Star Wars is cool again.
You don't think Hayden Christensen's acting in Revenge of the Sith was Star Wars? He delivered lines as beautifully as Mark Hamill did in A New Hope.
That's just one small piece of it, Juna. God. All right.
That was beautiful, though. That was good.
What?
I'm just fucking with you. You bring up Hayden Christensen. What's wrong with you? Don't you dare speak about him.
He's a great actor.
He might be a big part.
What was that
episode
movie
9.
he was in? Jumper?
Jumper.
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
Jumper. But Jumper was a cool concept.
Yeah.
It was pretty
I never
interesting.
watched
So
it.
was
I just-
Looper, but it still sucked.
Looper didn't suck. It was.
I did
think
not
it was
like
just average.
Looper. Should have been way better.
Looper should have been a better time travel. But we're not talking Looper. We're talking Mandalorian.
Well, it is Ryan Johnson.
Fuck Ryan Johnson.
Oh my god.
Anyway, Mandalorian. A couple of people, like for people jumping into this podcast or also jumping into the Mandalorian, we're going to do some work for you. We're going to help you understand where this takes place in the Star Wars universe. And quite simply put, it is 5 years after the Return of the Jedi. Return of the Jedi being where Luke Skywalker viciously murders 1 million people.
What?
Well, actually, no. It's him and his terrorist friends.
Oh my god. Well, that's an interesting political take on.
Did see it go that way?
the rebellion there?
No.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously Luke and his friends murder innocent people that were just doing their fucking job.
Wow.
They are a terrorist group if you really think about it.
Unbelievable.
From the perspective of the Empire, they're a terrorist group.
Yeah, but
they
from their
weren't-
perspective.
but here's the
it's
thing, though,
a
like, the term-
tyrannical regime that took
But the
over.
thing that was like,
But that's how every terrorist feels about the groups that they're taking
Oh
down.
my God.
but terrorists also incites there's a sense of inciting fear. So
You could
Luke-
argue that the resistance has incited fear by removing the power that runs things.
Yeah, but they thought they were restoring hope. I don't. You know what? That's a whole different podcast. that is a Star Wars political.
Political Star
Hour.
Wars.
There
podcast.
is, just so you were, there is a couple podcasts that actually dive into like the politics within the Star Wars universe.
I think there's a for every little Star Wars thing, there's a podcast for it. I'm sure.
that's true as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is 5 years after Return of the Jedi.
All right.
We are set up where we're following along with the Mandalorian. The Mandalorians, for those listening, and maybe actually I feel like you two know this because you're both nerds as well. But Mandalorians is a race, a warrior race. Kind of the way I explain them is they're kind of like Spartans, essentially.
Yeah,
like
that's a
they're
great
like the
way, yeah.
Spartan race, where it's like war and murder and death and all
you
that.
can see that in the design of the helmets. I mean, that's just taken straight from like Greek. The helmets,
Mythology,
like with
yeah.
that shape, is straight from Greek, ancient Greece.
Or for other nerds, they're like Jaffa from Stargate.
Dude, that's a good call out actually. Yeah,
Jafar?
Bred for
How
war.
so?
Jaffa warrior races, or is a warrior race.
Well, aren't they
That-
Egyptian?
No, they're aliens.
They're aliens.
Oh, but
They're aliens, and
Am
their
I thinking of a different
their
thing?
race was actually enslaved by the Gwa'uld, which is a snake-like parasite that goes into humanoid beings
oh god.
to take them over.
Okay. All right. I see you.
Like seriously, Christian, you should watch more TV.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Stargate's a great show
Uh,
and franchise.
Well, debatable.
It's one of the best stars out there.
Yeah, seriously.
Real quick though, in terms of universe building as well, a friend of the podcast, Michael Learman, said that there's a First Order call out with
There isn't. So we
There
discussed it yesterday. He saw the Empire symbol, and the Empire symbol is very similar to
First Order.
the First Order symbol, right? So if you're watching the podcast, Ravi is currently pointing out the Empire symbol. It's on his arm. The First Order symbol is that same circle, and it's almost like that gear, but it's kind of like a swivelly,
Swiveled, opened up.
open up kind of circle, like a wormhole almost.
That's one.
Oh, that's
real quick with the First Order symbol. That's one tattoo.
Yeah.
I will never get. I
Because
will
you
never
don't like,
get
you
the
don't like
first.
the First Order.
I just don't like how they like. I think part of it too is that I just don't have enough information about them. They just seem like a
I think we're going to get more in the next 10 years or so with more video games and TV shows and whatever.
Unless we get something amazing, they're never going to be on this body.
Oh my
I
god.
mean, you don't know. Okay.
2 weeks later, guys, I got a first order tattoo.
First
right
order.
on my ass.
I mean,
Oh
I
my God.
personally want to get the Sith First Order armor if Episode 9 and they are portrayed like in a cool
the
way.
red trooper
yeah,
armor.
if it's cool, like if I like it.
I know a guy. Shout out to his name is Jimmy. He's out in the Philippines.
Jimmy.
Hey, Jimmy.
Hey, Jimmy.
Jimmy.
Uh,
and
real-
he makes first order Sith trooper armor.
Nice.
Now.
Real quick on this universe building. So we have a general setting, we have a general time,
Mm-hmm.
but the first 2 episodes have been. We don't know what planet.
No, we don't know
we
any
don't
of the planets.
know what region of the galaxy.
Outer Rim.
We don't know even the political situation, really, of what's going on. We know it's Outer Rim, so it's
What's-
probably lawlessness.
Right. What's interesting about this show, especially Episode 2, very little dialogue. Right. It's
Yeah,
a lot
the
of
first
it's a
half,
lot
I
of
think that
visual,
was
right?
nothing.
And I
Yeah.
think that's why people get the Western vibe from this show because Westerns have huge sections without dialogue.
So did Episode 4.
Right.
I think.
Well, actually, real quick on that. So as we're diving into the actual episode, so episode 1, was it you that said this, Arjuna? Somebody on this table said that episode 1 felt like the first half was like a fan film,
Yeah, I said that.
YouTube Star Wars, and then the second half felt like an actual movie. And I think, in part of that, because I've watched now episode 1 3, maybe 4 times. I don't know why.
I've
but
watched
I
it
just
3
have.
times now.
And the biggest thing is that shooting sequence between the Mandalorian and the IG bounty hunter unit.
IG-10, I believe.
Is that they actually have like dialogue and interesting dialogue, and when you compare that to things like Rogue One, when they're on, God damn it, what's the planet that they nuke the city?
IG-11, sorry.
Anyone remember in Rogue One? I can't because that movie was stupid. But when they're actually like in
Mustafar.
not Mustafar, but
I'm
when they're
just
actually
Oh,
like,
wait, Saw is?
not where Saw is.
It's a desert planet.
Yeah.
Not Tatooine, not Jakku.
Yeah, I don't
Let's
remember
go
what
on
it's
that.
called. But anyway, when they're there and they're going through the battle sequences on that planet, the characters don't actually have dialogue. It's all action sequences. And part of the problem with that is you just don't learn more about the characters and you just don't care, right? There's not like it doesn't build upon the character. While with that sequence in episode 1,
Scarif.
Scarif, there we go. No, the Scarif is where they go to the planet.
That's where...
I mean, all the battle sequences, there's no dialogue
Got it.
in Rogue One. But with this, there is dialogue.
Jeddah.
Or there's interesting, like, anecdotes and things or whatever.
Are you talking about Jeddah?
Jeddah, yeah. Specifically, there was a YouTube video I watched where they break it down. And, yeah, it's just they're just shooting. They're not discussing. And the comparison was to, like, episode 4 when they're in the prison section freeing Leia.
That's right.
All 3 of them are having dialogue, calling each other names and
Sure.
making fun of the piss poor rescue attempt. So
Yeah.
I forget where I was going with this. I'm literally just rambling at this point. So somebody
Right,
else
yeah.
talk.
No, I had a point. It was about watching it for a third. It was when we were talking about the Empire versus the First Order, and I think Christian was talking about the universe building and where we are. We don't know our political leanings and stuff, but I think there's a couple context clues where we can get that the Empire is clearly fractured at this point, right? So you see the stormtroopers. Most times you see stormtrooper armor, it's white, it's pristine, it's clean, right? And there's, they're bunches, they're in formations and all that type of stuff. The stormtroopers and the officers that we meet in episode 1 are not organized in an empire type of way that we've seen before, right? The stormtrooper armor is sandy. It's not in the best condition. There's only 3 or 4 of them. They're not in a typical military. They're kind of hiding out in this town instead of just like out in the open because the empire has collapsed.
I also noticed, I don't know why it sticks out, but the posture of that one stormtrooper, he's like, his head is like leaning forward like this.
Yeah.
Like he's almost like hunched over.
Yeah.
I'm like, that is the most unstormtrooper thing
Right.
I've ever seen.
They're
it's
kind
almost
of
like they took guys off the street, put some stormtrooper armor on them, and the guy was like, "You work for the Empire now."
right.
That or they're worn out,
Yeah, exactly.
like
yeah.
worn.
And I
like,
think
to the
I think
brink.
that's the idea. And then also you see with the IG-11 unit at the very end of episode 1, his orders specifically are to kill the baby, not bring it back alive. While
Right.
the orders that the Mandalorian gets are to bring it back alive if possible, terminate if absolutely necessary.
But
Yeah.
bring back still. even
Bring
if
back
it's-
some
yeah.
evidence. At
And
least.
this
Dead
kind
or
of
alive.
this kind of moves into one of the theory. Like obviously we're gonna have theories throughout this podcast, but that also moves into one of the theories that I saw online, which I kind of like, which is with Baby Yoda or the Baby Yoda species thing. Somebody pointed out that in episode 1, the person that comes out with the glasses that makes the Mandalorian jump and pull out his gun and everything has a symbol on his shirt, which is that of a Camino cloner. So it's the same symbol that the Camino cloners had. Now we know that obviously Palpatine is making some kind of return in episode 9. We also know from expanded universe stuff, so non-canon Star Wars, that Palpatine was able to clone himself. So there's a theory, I think, floating out there that this guy is a cloner, potentially works directly with some faction, some order, some group that wants to clone Palpatine. And what's the best way to do it than like finding a Force-sensitive person and then pulling them?
I think you might be going too deep into this. What if Yoda cloned himself?
That's fucked up. Why would he do that?
Because Yoda's made some. First of all, Yoda's fallible. I know the prequels aren't great movies, but if they show anything, Yoda's not perfect. Second, perhaps he looks at it as like, in case the Skywalker family truly is fucked, maybe I should have a piece of me sticking around to make sure
Like
things are
a
okay.
so wait, you think he made a contingency plan?
He is the opposite of Sidious, and if we know anything about Sidious, Sidious is contingency plan on top of contingency plan on top of contingency plan, right? Maul didn't work out. Anakin didn't work out. He had plan after plan after plan.
None of his plans work.
Apparently, he's not dead, so we don't know if his plan doesn't work.
dead.
Well, to relate,
I got better.
So to relate to this theory, right? One of the interesting things about the Mandalorian are the release dates. It's not consistent. So most of these episodes are airing Fridays.
Yeah.
In a weekly format. Obviously, the first one was on Tuesday. It came out with the release day of Disney Plus. Then they waited another 3 days until the second episode, November 15th, a Friday. And then, episode 3 is the 22nd, episode 4 is the 29th, so on and so on. It breaks, though, on the 7th because December 20th, we know, is the full release day of Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
So they didn't want to necessarily come out that day. December 19th, that night, is also where a lot of screens do midnight premieres, whatever.
Yeah.
6 p.m. showing. Aren't we going
6
to
p.m.
one?
Yes, we're going to a 6 p.m. showing on the 19th. So episode 7 comes out on December 18th.
You mean
Day
9?
before
Episode 9?
Episode 7.
Of
So-
The Mandalorian.
of The Mandalorian
Oh, okay,
comes out
okay.
December 18th, a full day before.
Yeah.
Now, we know the big reveal has been that there is this Baby Yoda species. We don't know if it is a true baby, if it's a clone, or whatever. You've talked about how it could maybe connect with Palpatine. Would it shock anyone, especially with Disney and how they think with synergy, that this episode will have some type of direct connection to episode 9?
Then I think I'm about to say what you're about to say. Take it one step further. Jedi Fallen Order was released yesterday,
Yes.
and Ravi, while playing the game, now he was a little bit under the influence of alcohol potentially, but he still said Cal, the main character, and spoiler alert, maybe, I don't know, this is a theory actually, of Jedi Fallen Order, he immediately was like, he's a clone, right? We got clone feel from him, maybe.
Part of that reason also came because I know that this game, like one of the jokes that came out was when Disney bought Star Wars, there was what was the video game called? Force
Battlefront 2.
Unleashed. The Force Unleashed.
Oh, yes.
The Force Unleashed had already come out with Force Unleashed 1, Force Unleashed 2, and Force Unleashed 3 was in the works. That got scrapped because that was all expanded universe stuff. So for those listening and watching, Force Unleashed was the story of one of Vader's experiments, which was clones. And he had successfully made a bunch of clones of the main character in Force. Starkiller. He had made clones of Starkiller.
Which is now expanded, right? It's not.
Yeah, expanded. It's no longer canon.
It's not canon.
But
yet.
the joke was
But
that the
idea
same
is-
team that was working and the same stuff that was being worked on for Force Unleashed 3 was just copy and pasted and put into Fallen Order.
Ah.
So you get similar like character traits and stuff like that.
Maybe similar story themes.
And I'm thinking similar story themes. I think the big thing is
Cloning.
Cloning is the overarching theme, I think, for episode 9, The Mandalorian, and potentially The Fallen Order.
Real quick,
their
just on
buzzword.
a quick tangent. Not a lot of people, some people like Jules. Jules is who's been on this podcast before. He will be. I don't know. He said one of the things he didn't like was that there was too much Star Wars all at the same time. He said, why couldn't you have just episode 9 release in December and have all the other crap that he doesn't, or won't necessarily get to right away after New Year's?
Because
the answer to people like that might be because synergy. They're synergized, or there's a running theme that's important.
Well, I mean,
to each one.
Well,
to the whole.
No, it comes down from a company perspective. They want you consuming Star Wars as much as humanly possible, and they're doing it perfectly. I'm playing a Star Wars video game. Yeah. I'm watching a week-to-week series, and then I'm going to go to the movie theater.
Right, it's going to culminate in this big movie event, which
climax.
That's the and then that's the last Star Wars movie for 3 years.
Dang.
Right?
No, I'm actually sad.
It's a big
no.
But it's necessary because Star Wars has always been known for it's not a Marvel franchise where you can have 4 movies come out in 1 year. You know what I mean? Like you see, go back to 2018 with
Rogue One.
No, I'm sorry, the end of 2017, then the middle of 2018, right? With
episode 8.
With episode 8, and then 5 months later, Solo.
Yeah,
right. That was the low point of Disney Star Wars. Solo effectively killed the idea of spin-off Star Wars movies, and there was all the behind-the-scenes issues with Episode 9, the changing of directors, the return of J.J. Abrams, just a lot of like, what are we going to do with this property, et cetera, et cetera. Mm-hmm. So, I think it's smart that they're taking this break because they still have this. They still have the Mandalorian. They still have the Cassian Andor show coming. They still have the Obi-Wan show coming.
It's Obi-Wan Kaboozy. Say it properly.
Obi-Wan Kaflucky.
Wow. Whoa.
So they have other content.
Yeah, and I think Disney Plus has obviously been a roaring success for them, and you're going
it's 2 days old.
It's already got 10 million subscribers.
I know.
It's the fastest online subscription service ever.
And they partnered with various people, and it's not hard to get a free a quote unquote free subscription of Disney Plus through some type of other subscription service that you have. They've partnered with a bunch of people.
For now.
And there's even like nerd websites I've seen, like it's like, oh, here's an exclusive code to get Disney Plus free for 3 months. It's like they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Well, I think marketed it well.
I think part of that too, though, and like going back off this idea of world building and then also consuming content. If we're looking at like Disney Plus, Arjuna, I think you brought this up that on the Marvel side, Kevin Feige and crew have said something along the lines that you'll need to watch the Marvel Disney Plus shows in order to understand the movies. I wouldn't be surprised if you need Mandalorian knowledge to go into Rise of Skywalker.
I think
to like have the complete experience.
I think they're playing with it. It enhances the experience for the super fan. For the Star Wars fan. Now, the everyday non Star Wars nerd who's like, I don't really know. I haven't seen all the movies. I don't understand X,
I just
want
to see what the big deal is.
Yeah, I just want to see I've kind of watched Rey and company, and I want to see how their story goes, and I really care about that.
Right.
I don't think you necessarily need the Mandalorian.
Idiots.
But if you're like us, right, where we're like, we consume Star Wars, we love Star Wars, we want to know who the fuck is Snoke, right? Where did the First Order come from? Why is their armor red?
Why First Order?
Why not Second Order? Those types of questions, I think the Mandalorian is going to enhance that experience.
That makes sense.
To the point of I think for the everyday viewer, they're just going to accept Palpatine's there, while the Mandalorian might give us context as to why he is there. Movies are now becoming these blockbusters that are so tightly packed with all this corporate stuff that you're actually losing deep storytelling that have to be told in TV shows, books, and video games.
Yeah. Which is great. I mean, as long as the story is good.
Yeah.
Don't make content for the sake of making content.
But then to go to the Scorsese point, are you making cinema or are you making amusement attractions?
You're making amusement attractions.
Sure, yeah. One pace.
And sometimes you get cinema. I think Mandalorian so far is hitting both. It's making meticulous tickled happiness.
Tickled happy.
Meticulous,
Tickled happiness. Anyway, I want to go more theories because theories is
What
I mean,
drives this train?
it really does.
Yeah.
Like theories is what I think is the great thing about Star Wars. So, who did the Baby Yoda's origins? Who wants to take
I
it?
Uh,
think that's all of us. Like I
yeah.
think everybody's got something to say.
I
So
think-
basically, what we're going to tell you is when a Yoda and a Yoda-looking species female get together.
It creates a baby who's
Creates
very
a
strong in the Force. I think there's three main ones.
Let's hear them.
The three main ones seem to be it's either reincarnation, it's a love child between Yoda and Yaddle. Yaddle is a
Or someone else.
or someone else, but Yaddle, for those of you who don't know, is a female Jedi Master who's of the same species of Yoda, who was around. There's like one shot of her in Episode 1. She was a powerful Jedi Master, I think older than Yoda, in
I think she
in
was
the lore
younger.
or whatever. Oh, maybe younger. I thought she was older by 400 years, but I could be wrong. And then I guess the third one is maybe it's a clone. Those are the-
Or, I
those are
mean,
the
there's
three.
the fourth one, which is it's not related to Yoda at all.
Well, I think.
What
Christian
would be the
said-
point of that?
I think Krishna said Yoda-like species.
Yeah.
Right? Because we don't actually have a name for the species.
No.
Let's call them wrinkly green aliens. Do you think they're like penises are wrinkly?
Oh, for
What
love of
the
God.
hell?
What the fuck,
Why?
dude?
Why? Why?
Moving
children.
quickly along, but back to the point of like, why does it have to be related to Yoda?
Well, I mean, it
I
doesn't,
think-
but it would be. I think you would incur the wrath of too many people.
I think Yoda is one, like Darth Vader or like a stormtrooper is one of the more iconic imagery in
Right.
Star Wars. I think
you
could
just confuse.
I think
people.
you could let's go on a Hollywood Boulevard, right, in Los Angeles, and you poll people and like you show them a picture of Yoda. I think most people would know that's related to Star Wars.
Yeah.
So it just makes sense, right? It makes sense from I want to get the super fan, I want to get the fans like us interested. I give something that's like, oh, Yoda. We don't know a ton about Yoda's, species and all that type of stuff. Put in something that looks like that. Oh, we want to get fans who kind of know, the general fans. Put in something they recognize as well. It's
Yeah.
a win-win from both perspectives.
I'm looking at real quick. I'm looking up Yaddle right now on the the Star Wars wiki page,
has hair.
Wikipedia, and it's just a Yoda puppet that they stuck hair long hair on.
Yeah.
But that's the
It's
great
amazing.
That's the great part about George Lucas, right? He didn't have a plan when it came to like, oh, I'm gonna. It's just like, yeah, just reuse the puppet and do this.
Oh my
like,
God.
we'll figure it out later. And who would have thought? Episode 1 came out in 1999.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So 20 years later, that an insignificant 30-second shot now has become
Potentially.
potentially. Well, no, but you could definitively say this, right? It's become a very analyzed scene in this movie.
Yeah. Oh, you
That-
mean Yaddle?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. that's
Think
true.
about it, right? This throwaway character that was nothing or nobody. George Lucas probably like, yeah, just it looks good in the shot.
It
or
doesn't
whatever.
have time to come up with a backstory for the species.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like it doesn't matter. It's like, we'll explain it later, right? Because
Yeah.
he infamously like
do it
changed
live.
things on the fly. Didn't really, and
Didn't give a flying fuck.
yeah, which is
great.
great.
Um,
But it's become this big theory and rallying point and plot point for people.
I will say, I think one of my favorite parts of The Mandalorian, the first few episodes, are the use of animatronics, like the puppets.
Yeah, practical effects are great.
That, I think, is what has made people have it feel like Star Wars. I think that might be the main reason, to be honest. Something as simple as that. Like Baby Yoda, like walking up, getting out of its crib thing, like 5 times when walking up to Mandalorian trying to touch him, was like the cutest thing I've ever seen, since the Ewoks, let's be honest.
Can we shift real quick to like things that annoyed us?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a couple things.
So, and maybe I'm just being too hardcore of a Star Wars fan here, but the Mandalorians hate the Jedi. Like, hate.
Oh, that actually brings up
Hate.
that
That's
brings
another
up a theory.
theory, though.
Here's a theory. So I have a theory
Yep.
that the Mandalorian is not a Mandalorian.
Yeah.
There's a few lines that he delivers where you're like, specifically when he's about to interact with the Jawas to try and trade with them, and the Jawas ask him basically to give up his weapons, and he's like, I can't. It's part of
My religion.
It's part of my religion. It's almost like he's, and the way he
Reciting
delivered it, yeah,
something.
he's like reciting something. It's like it's memorized, and it's hard to dive too much into it because you can't see his face. And you're only going off of tonality and whatnot. But the way he says it, it's almost like yeah, this is what it is.
Like he's an
He's
an imposter.
Right.
Almost.
Here's what's interesting to me, right? A lot of people obviously are comparing the Mandalorian to Boba Fett, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's like, well, Boba Fett, if you really watch the movies, he sucked as a warrior. Like he wasn't very good.
He's like the Captain Phasma.
Right, but then you have to remember, is he a true Mandalorian? Because he's a clone. He doesn't really grow up around his people.
Right.
You know, he's not. He is a Mandalorian in name, but is he a Mandalorian in culture? Not really, right?
Well, maybe because Django was a Mandalorian, right? And Django raised him.
But Django was gone at a very young age for him. Like he
That's
was
true.
gone by
That's a good point.
age 10, 11
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Like there's no more Django.
That's true.
And he was left to figure out his stuff on his own, working with bounty hunters.
Right.
So
And the Empire.
And the Empire.
So I think with the Mandalorian, you know, so people are like, well, he's more competent. But to me, right, when I think Mandalorians, they're a badass warrior race that can they can take on things and really go toe to toe with most things in the galaxy.
like Sabine from Star Wars Rebels.
Like they're incredible warriors. I haven't gotten that sense from the Mandalorian in the first two
I
episodes.
get the impression he's a young guy
He
who's
doesn't-
still figuring it out.
Right, he doesn't seem like an impressive Mandalorian to me. You
Right.
know, he would have
He gets shot a lot.
right. He gets shot
and that
a lot.
armor saves his butt.
He gets taken down by beasts a lot.
Yep.
You know, even the I Have Spoken character,
Cooley?
in the first episode goes on, it's like
Cully?
your race, you know, they contain most beasts.
Yeah.
And he's having trouble with what seems in this universe like a pretty simple beast.
Yeah.
You know, he in the second episode he doesn't beat that thing by himself. He beats it because Baby Yoda makes it float.
Right.
So I think that
we all float away.
So wait. So, well, then,
float.
but then
too.
ask. But then answer the question. Then is he a Mandalorian?
I don't think so.
Okay.
That's my theory is he's not a Mandalorian.
Kind of like the stormtroopers, maybe posing as stormtroopers. Maybe he's posing as a Mandalorian.
Well, I think what's interesting too is Ravi, you talked about Mandalorians hate Jedi. Well, so he specifically talks to the Nick Nolte character at one point, and he's trying to describe what happened, but he can't because he doesn't know what the Force is, and neither does the other character. Which also, which makes sense, right? He's clearly in a community of displaced Mandalorians, and he even says, I think when he gives the armor and metal stuff in, there's excess, and the female Mandalorian says this will go to foundlings. Foundlings being like orphans,
Right.
And he's like, I was a foundling once too.
Yeah.
And then that's
then
where
we
you
do
get
have
the
that flashback. Yeah.
Right. So he clearly hasn't grown up with probably with he's probably never been to Mandalore, if we have to assume, or he was there at a young age.
Yeah, because the biggest thing is Palpatine, right? Obviously had his plan going. His biggest threat was the Jedi. His next biggest threat was going to be the Mandalorians because they're a warrior race. And
Who could go toe to toe with Jedi?
Who could go toe to toe with Jedi. And he was smart enough that he caused the city to fall into, political disarray.
Right.
He caused the capital to have a civil war.
And this is all from
This is all during the Clone Wars.
the animated show.
The
This is
animated
where we're
show.
getting all this information. Just
Because
So by the time episode 3 occurs and everything has fallen and everything has fallen basically in terms of the Republic, the Mandalorian people are basically almost wiped out. And then by the time Star Wars Rebels picks up and we have Sabine's character, we get even more information that Sabine actually helped wipe her own race out almost. So by the time Mandalorian is taking place, it's they're an extinct race almost.
Oh, and here's another interesting thing about the Mandalorian character. He clearly has a distaste for droids, right?
Yep.
In episode 1, he doesn't want the speeder that's run by a droid. He doesn't trust the IG unit, ultimately kills it at the end.
But he does.
protect the thing.
That's true. But I don't know if that's a super strong thing because right before he kills the IG unit, he's like, "You're not bad for a droid."
Right, for a
He's
droid.
making friends with it already.
I don't know if he's making friends, but my feeling is, right,
He was willing to work with it.
if Pedro is the true actor under, obviously he's the voice of the Mandalorian, but if they ever do reveal under the Mandalorian mask and it is Pedro Pascal,
I think it is.
Pedro is looks 40 to 50 years old in real life. So if you keep the character that age, he was probably a child during the Clone Wars, which would be the droids. You know, so his family,
that's
his
a great
family
point.
was probably killed by droids.
That's actually a great point. Maybe his lack of impressiveness is due to age and not inexperience.
Could be that. Too.
That would be badass.
It could be a combo of the two.
True. Yeah.
And just so everyone's aware, I mean, so with Pedro Pascal playing the Mandalorian, there is an interview that surfaced where Pedro Pascal actually reveals the name of the Mandalorian.
Oh, God.
Now, obviously, it's an interview. It hasn't actually come out on the show, so this could still be a rumor, or it could just be, misdirection from Disney. But the name is Din Djarin, D-Y-N for the first name, and then Djarin, J-A-R-R-E-N.
Djarin.
And Djarin is, I looked it up, it is a Mandalorian, clansman name or whatever.
Like family or whatever?
Yeah. There's not a lot of history on the Djarin clan or whatever, but it is Mandalorian, if you will.
Okay,
So-
that's interesting.
So, I mean, that could be it, But once again, even that, taking a name doesn't mean you're a true, Mandalorian. It could just be him taking on some other identity.
What about his blaster?
Love it. It's also a throwback to the holiday
Oh,
special. from
The
Boba
the long one
Yeah.
that disintegrates people.
Yeah, so it's interesting because in the first episode he shoots that thing, the thing that bites down on the ship
Yeah.
with it, and it just stuns. But then it obliterates
Smaller things.
smaller things.
So it has a
Organic
it has a
things.
range.
well, the other thing was organic.
We assume. Yeah.
The
The big
beast.
in episode
Oh,
1.
yeah,
The big
the thing
ice
that
thing
in the ice that
Like,
has the ship.
clamps onto the ship.
Yeah.
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 Well, the weapon can do a number of different things, it looks
Right.
like.
Maybe
Stun, blow up things.
disintegrate. Yeah. Pretty interesting looking rifle.
I want one.
Also, how about when the first full trailer came out, everyone was painstakingly trying to figure out who was in the carbonite in the trailer.
Oh, yeah.
And it turned out to be just the guy he captures in the first episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of loved that.
That was
kind of
great.
love that people there's hundreds of video essays, hours and hours put into
and it's a
that's
nobody.
Darth Maul, that's this character, that's this guy, and it's just
There were
literally
people thought that was Darth Maul.
Yeah, I mean
Maybe
there were
because of the baldness.
there were theories. I saw pretty much every character was touched.
It's Palpatine.
It's Snoke.
It's the real Mando.
Oh my god. Yeah.
It's Boba Fett.
So in terms,
Speaking of
that's
Boba
that's
Fett.
one of our other theories, and then it looks like the last Easter theory that we've got here is Boba Fett makes an appearance specifically in Episode 1, specifically when the Mandalorian is walking to give in his earnings to make new armor with the Mandalorian people. We see him walking in that hallway, and you see what looks to be Boba Fett in the background, very similar color design and scheme, and then the dent in the helmet as well. What do we think about that? Do we actually believe
No.
Boba Fett's running around with this small group, or do we think that's just a nod that
I think it's
Jon Favreau's doing to us?
I think it's a nod because I think if it's I think Taika Waititi once had a really great quote about fan theories, and he's like, if you confirm a popular fan theory, it's not good anymore.
Right.
It's kind of shit. Because you're never going to do it right, and the fun in it is having a theory, right? Like, let's take Darth Jar Jar, for example.
Yep.
Krishna's favorite fan theory of all time. If that was confirmed, it takes the fun out of it.
Yeah.
It takes the mystique around, he's running around controlling everything, and it just becomes wait, really?
Yeah.
It's kind of lame.
Or the execution.
Yeah,
failed.
and I think if you have Boba Fett he survived the Sarlacc pit,
Keep that a secret.
I don't know. It's just kind of well, that's kind of lame that
Yeah.
he's just, and then how do you logically explain that, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I feel like it's not, and it's really just it's a fun hint at without Boba Fett ever appearing in the original trilogy, you don't have this show, obviously. Because Boba Fett spawned the Mandalorian race, the creation of that race, and then obviously expanded and everything like that.
Yeah, I think it just being a nod makes more sense than anything.
Cool.
Bold prediction. So obviously with this podcast, it being The Mandalorian, we're going to be doing a podcast every week. So specifically from each of us, I'd like a bold prediction on episode 3, and then maybe a larger one for the series. And then we're going to do our darndest to make sure that we go back next episode and see who of us is bold and predictable.
Nice. Oh man,
That was
I
good.
actually,
That was
I
good,
actually
right?
don't have one.
Get the fuck off this podcast.
Yeah.
You're fired.
Wait, no. I have a few, but they're not fully formed yet, so someone else can go first.
Okay, so for episode 3, my bold prediction is that collectively, as a group on this podcast, we will be disappointed.
Oh, that's not a prediction. That's such a
That's a
cop
bold
out.
It's a
prediction.
bold prediction because my
Get
theory,
outta
my
here.
theory here is and I can already feel myself doing it.
Should be related to the story.
And Arjuna, it was actually Arjuna that kind of hinted this along because episode 2 we finish it and he was like, "Oh, okay," and he's like, "It was only 32 minutes," and it's not necessarily that you were like disappointed, but you could see that compared to like episode 1, like post episode 1 Arjuna hype, compared to like episode 2 post episode 2 Arjuna hype, it was lower. So naturally, I feel like we're going to be on this decline, and we all know seasons how they work. Usually, you start at a good high,
of course.
and then you start dropping until
You're like,
midway through the season. Some
you gotta
big
go back up. Yeah.
something comes happens, then you drop again, and then you
Sure.
boost back up.
So
Sure.
right. So
So
yes.
my theory is we will collectively
So
be sad.
so yesterday I got to watch episodes 1 and 2 back to back last night, and way more enjoyable. Like I enjoyed the first 2 episodes, but I can already feel myself, just to reiterate your point, like struggling to watch this week to week
Yeah,
because
You want it all.
I want it all. I want
I want it.
and think about it. This is the first live action Star Wars thing we've consumed. Like movies, they're 2-hour chunks, right? And you get a complete story of some type, right? And then obviously there's dangling threads that get picked up in the sequel. This is the first live action Star Wars thing we kind of have to wait week to week, and we're getting like little morsels. It was bearable because we're going to wait 3 days between episodes 1 and 2. Now we got to wait 6 days for the next one. I'm just like,
Have patience, young Padawan.
Patience.
I don't mind it because let's be honest, there should be a difference between television and movies. Movies, you get everything at once. In television, it was made for you to wait, for there to be stories continuation over time.
But
right?
do you know why?
To get away from all of that, I don't care why. That's just the way it is.
Well, the reason why was that it was advertisers. You get to sell more ad dollars that way.
Sure. And
Well,
if
and
you know
also
anything about
consistent
Disney,
work.
then
Yeah.
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 But it doesn't matter. I don't mind it. It is infuriating because you do have to wait. But I'm enjoying the slow burn because like if I can't wait, I can go back and watch episode 1 and 2 again. I can watch fan theory videos. I'm gonna take my time and enjoy it. But you're right though. That does leave you open potentially to some ebbs and flows
Yep.
in. Not interest, but in happiness, I guess, with the series. But that's natural. I think that's normal. That's the way it should be.
Right.
Nothing is going to be a 10 the whole way through, and nor should it be. Hopefully there's something in each episode that you could take away from it.
Right.
Because let's be honest, this episode, not a whole lot happens. But the cinematography, the pacing, and the action were great. Right? So, hopefully we
well,
get
it's interesting
that.
too. This is a show that's very singular-minded. There's one main character and everyone supports it. While most shows, right, you have multiple threads going, multiple
Yeah.
things. So it's interesting. I like that it's singularly focused, right? Oh, again, very much like a Western. At least the classic Westerns. So that's what's going to be interesting. It's not like a Game of Thrones where you have an ensemble cast and you've got what's going on in Winterfell, what's going on in King's Landing, what's going on here and here. You're just following the Mandalorian the whole time.
Yep.
So that will be interesting.
So my season theory is we are not going to, by the end of this season, we are not going to know really
Anything?
We're not going to know. We're not going to know Baby Yoda's origins.
Okay.
By the end of the season, we will not know
Sure.
because the show is called The Mandalorian. So we're going to know more about the fucking Mandalorian, not some stupid, cute little
Yoda baby.
Yoda baby.
You're going to buy 6 of those toys.
I've already pre-ordered. I sent a check to Disney for $100 and said, "You know what I want."
Isn't it crazy?
Don't even know what it looks like.
It is crazy to me they don't have a toy.
Yeah,
on
it's
the
the
market
holiday
yet.
season. Like that thing would sell like a.
That thing.
I
would
mean,
be,
I want one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, wait.
You
Baby
think-
Yoda.
Think about how many variations
Toy.
you could
I'm
have it like
Googling this
in
right
the
now.
pod. You could have it like walking around. You could have it doing the Force thing. You
Yeah.
could make like a Tickle Me Baby Yoda version.
Yeah. I have my season-long prediction.
Well, let's hear it.
So I think we will see the origins of the First Order, either a nod or even like a conversation or a character that's integral to the formation of the First Order. First Order rises out the shadows
First
of
Order.
the Empire.
Yep.
This is literally the shadows of the Empire. They're not the Empire; it's the shadows. It's like the twilight, right, of the
Right.
Empire. So I think this, it just makes sense. Like right before Episode 9, the conclusion of this trilogy that involves the First Order and the potential death of the First Order, it makes sense that the thing right before is going to give us at least something of like, where did this thing even come from? So that, to me, it just makes sense that we're going to see something related to the First Order in this show.
What if? This is just a stupid theory.
The Mandalorian started the First Order?
Yeah, it's Snoke.
Wait, the Mandalorian is Snoke?
Yeah, he learns the Force through Baby Yoda.
What if Baby Yoda's Snoke?
By the way, I do want to
That'd be so
highlight a potential disturbing thought.
Oh God.
This Baby Yoda is clearly extremely powerful
Yes.
in the Force.
Yep.
But
we
seems like even though it's 50 years old, it seems like it's a baby.
Yep.
And it's
I think
being
it is for their race,
exposed, and it has innocent, cute tendencies like eating a frog whole, which I loved, and just being very cute and adorable and trying to play with the Mandalorian. Is this very powerful thing that's going to grow up? If it's allowed to grow up, will be a very powerful Force user.
Yes.
Is being exposed to a lot of violence.
It's true.
And
That's very
a
true.
lot of blood.
But to be fair,
I just want to point that out.
the Jedi and their Padawans are always exposed to a lot of violence.
Well, at least
That's
in the,
true.
in the
they're
movies. for
in the
sure,
movies,
yeah.
like
That's
remember the Clone Wars?
Yeah, I do.
They live in like a very violent time. I think everyone is so desensitized in the Star Wars universe, like more so than we are with like things that happen in the real world. I feel like those fuckers are even more desensitized.
If you actually bring up a good point, you would think there would be a lot more dark Jedi running around. A lot more guys falling to the dark side, being like, you know what? This world's fucked up.
Yeah.
I embrace the dark side.
So do you have a episode 3 theory or no?
I'll just come up with one off the top of my head. Bada bing, bada boom. Episode 3 theory is that
Oh yeah. That's a good
Juna,
one.
go.
Okay, so I'm gonna start with my episode 3 prediction.
Prediction?
Bold prediction.
Prediction.
It's not really that
Pain.
bold, but I think the Gina Carano character will finally make her appearance.
I mean, if you look on IMDb.
I actually did not look on IMDb.
Oh, I have
well,
it.
it's
open.
confirmed.
If you look at the IMDb, like the I think you pointed this out, the episode descriptions, they're like hilariously vague. It's
Oh
like,
yeah.
the Mandalorian delivers his bounty. The Mandalorian flies in his ship.
Mandalorian takes a shit.
I think the Gina Carano character is introduced, and I think what we find out about her will be well talked about. That'll be one of the big talking points in our next episode.
Like, what is she?
Because she
Who
is a
is she?
Mandalorian, right?
Well, we don't know.
We don't know.
She doesn't have a helmet.
But I think there will be more connections. I think I don't know if it'll be on the same level as hashtag Baby Yoda, but I think it'll be a big talking point for a lot of people. And my season prediction is the Mandalorian has a crew by the end of the season.
Interesting.
Making it like the new Firefly.
Kind of. And the reason
Firefly.
I say, the reason
The
I say
series?
the reason I say it is this. So the Mandalorian, he's a loner. People talk about how he's a loner, blah blah blah.
But he's gonna make friends.
He's starting to make friends. He's made friends with the Nick Nolte alien character. He even asked him to join him. He's like, I could use you on this ship, and he turned him down. So
I have spoken. Yep.
yeah. So but I feel like he's going to get into this mentality, or it will become. He has a little crew.
He's
for
gonna have
season 2.
friends. With his
Maybe
I like that.
baby.
maybe it's him,
like
Baby Yoda, Gina Carano, and Apollo Creed.
What about? Do you think Gus Freeman's character is gonna come?
Gus Fring.
Gus Fring?
Yeah.
Next episode?
Yeah.
I don't know about next episode, but I think, we need to find out the mystery of why all these bounty hunters are being sent in the same clan.
Yep.
Because clearly, like, it's one bounty hunter per
You know
bounty.
what? You
I have
you
my
know
next episode theory.
You know what it is? Just like corporate America, it's miscommunication.
And it's different factions, right? The Empire's splintered, and I think Gus, Giancarlo Esposito's character.
And he's a death trooper.
Yeah.
His squadron's a death trooper squadron.
So he seems like he's a different faction of the Empire,
Yep.
and so there's competing
Yep.
resources on how to get this Baby Yoda. What I do find interesting with the Baby Yoda character is it is 50 years old, so wasn't known about by the by Palpatine and Darth Vader in the original trilogy?
So
Was that one of their missions to find this?
So
Gotta
with
be.
Young
with
one.
the Force, the way it's been explained in canon, it's not like everyone is aware of everyone.
Sure.
There has to be some kind of disturbance in the Force in order
A
for
ripple.
a ripple, essentially. And the way I like to explain it is kind of Xavier and Cerebro.
Yes.
So he obviously Xavier connects is a telepath and connects via the mind or whatever. But same idea, like he feels some kind of disturbance and he can use the machine to like really pinpoint it. I think even if you feel a disturbance in the Force, it's not like it's an immediate like, oh, I know where you are and you exist. You actually have to put some time and effort into it in order. And if Palpatine and Vader to a degree during the height of the Empire, they're running around like loonies trying to like piecemeal this galaxy together and bring order.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they have a lot of time.
Tell me if this is confirmed or not, or if it's just a cool theory that they hid Luke on Tatooine because it's a Force dead planet. Well, not Force dead, but like because it's just sand
don't
and not
thi-
much life.
Yeah, I don't think that's ever been
Confirmed.
I think that's one of those more like video essay type things that
Because
makes sense.
because I mean technically Yoda, we find Yoda on this like kind of desert rocky place, which
yeah,
doesn't
which
have a lot of life.
which you said it. You asked the question yesterday, and a lot of people have been asking the question: was this desert planet Tatooine?
I mean, there's Jawas running around. Is it maybe?
I mean, I guess the thing is, even if it is Tatooine, I don't see how that
Makes sense.
Not that it makes sense. I just don't know if it really means anything,
Well,
right? Other than it's just a location because the Mandalorian, the IG unit, stumble upon what looks like the pirate clan essentially, and they clearly brought, or it's a hideout, right? It's not like the baby was there. I think they brought the baby to that place, as opposed to the baby was there.
So Michael Learman yesterday, him and I were talking about it, and he has a theory that the people that they killed were protecting the baby, and they were like priests or good guys. So he's like, well, we're clearly following the Mandalorian. He's a bad guy, and in his mind, he sees that the group that they attacked, they were good guys. They were, potentially they were.
Is Larry a sociopath? No.
Well, my counter was like, we don't know, but like in my impression, they were like mercenaries.
Yeah.
They weren't necessarily good guys.
Well, I mean, you can clear that
He's
up
like, well,
with
he's like-
Cooley,
Mhm.
the Nick Nolte character.
Yeah.
Clearly says, "You're a Mandalorian. I, bring peace back to my valley."
So Learman's counterpoint to that, because that's what I brought up. I'm like, clearly these guys are ruffians. He's like, no. He says that he's like, maybe he's showing a bias. He's showing that he doesn't like these people because they're different, and the chaos he's bringing is that they're drawing in mercenaries, bounty hunters, which is bringing chaos to the place. So Learman truly believes that the
So
guy.
it's an interesting take.
Because he's like
I think it's wrong.
he
but-
says his theory is like these guys are willing to lay their life down for this baby. They're protecting this baby.
there's clearly a lot of money involved with this baby.
That's what I was saying. I'm like, I
Yeah.
think this baby's being transported. It's not like the baby's like on a throne being treated well. It's like with a bunch of other junk to the side. Like,
Yeah, I don't think they're protecting it.
Yeah.
It's cargo to them.
But it was that was what was interesting to me. That Learman's like, I was like, this is an interesting take that I haven't heard.
Yeah.
So
Not popular. Anyway, my bold my bold prediction for next episode is we will see Giancarlo Esposito's character, but the first shot of him is going to be eating some kind of chicken-looking thing. As a,
you think it's gonna be a throw to
I think it's going to
Gus's
be.
fried
I
chicken?
think it's going to be. I think that's going to be some
Oh my
kind
God.
of reference to his character from Breaking Bad.
I really hope that's
because that'd
the
be a missed
case.
opportunity.
It really would.
And it's just it would be such. It could be such a simple,
Subtle thing.
subtle thing
Yeah.
that it doesn't have any bearing on anything. It's just like a nod to people who watch Star Wars and Breaking Bad.
I love it. I
Yeah.
like that one. That's
Yeah.
probably my favorite, more so than Arjuna's.
what?
Why are you crying?
I'm not crying.
Kids, I think it's time.
Nice,
It's the time of the show where we decide if it was good or not.
nice.
Ravi,
yes.
was The Mandalorian episodes 1 and 2 good?
Yes, except for the first time you see the robot, the droid-controlled speeder. That CGI was dog shit.
That was really bad.
That was ridiculously bad. And when I saw that the very first time, I was
Right.
like, oh no, oh no,
It's happening
oh
again.
no, this is Rogue One all over
Oh
again.
my god, that's hilarious.
But yes, it was good.
Cool.
Krishna, was Mandalorian episodes 1 and 2 good?
It was. Arjuna, was Mandalorian episode 1 and 2 good?
Yes, it was.
And
I think episode 2 was better than episode 1. I'll throw that
Absolutely,
in.
I agree.
And then I think everyone has watched it again.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch them again
I
before next week.
probably in when the show's over and like within 6 months, I would binge the whole thing again.
Yeah,
back to back.
for that experience.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
Well, that's the podcast, folks. We're going to be back again next week, most likely Saturday again, for episode 3 of The Mandalorian. Hopefully,
Revenge of the Sith.
hopefully with a guest, if we get on our do our due diligence.
We are.
We
Maybe
will
we'll
try.
get Billy Crudup. You said the quote on your shirt.
Maybe that'd be awesome.
Wait,
Oh,
can
that's from
we
Matt?
ask him to be in character for
Yes.
So for those who are listening and watching, Ravi is wearing a shirt called "Chaos is a New Cocaine," which is a line from the Apple TV Plus show, The Morning Show, and it's from Billy Crudup's executive character, who's this kind of eccentric weirdo.
Who I want to be. That's
Oh
what
my
when
God.
I grow up and become a president of a network. That's who I want to be.
You think networks will still be around when you're grown up?
Oh god.
Yes.
There'll be Twitch channels.
There will be Twitch. Yeah, exactly. Thank you for listening, guys. You can find us on Twitter at WasItGood, on Instagram at WasItGoodBTM, on Twitch at WasItGood, on YouTube as well. Be sure to hit us up with any questions or theories that you have on Mandalorian, Star Wars, geek, or pop culture. Good day.
Good day, good day. Oh wait, what was the line?
Alrighty. We're still streaming if anyone's out there wants to chat.
That was a question from Brett Rader.
Brett.
Brett asked, "What cute version of a species will JJ bring to Rise of Skywalker?" So Ewoks are like little bears.
Yeah. More droids. The dude has like some weird like fascination with droids.
No, but we want to know what creatures.
I think he's gonna
The
have.
creatures
I
are-
think he's gonna. There's gonna be an entire thing with droids. I think that's gonna be his cute thing because he introduced BB-8
Yeah.
for Force Awakens.
Like a droid party?
He's got like this new little one running around.
Yeah.
Which is another cute thing. We got that scene in the trailer where C-3PO is plugged into something with R2-D2. So I think his like cutesy thing is gonna be droids.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rise of the Droids.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with stingrays.
Yeah, why not? I mean, why not? I mean, you had Admiral Akbar, who's like calamari.
As
or
it's Brett, I'm gonna go
octopus, I
with
don't know.
something that looks like a Pikachu.
www.internet.com. That's where you can find me.
If you want to listen to our greatest Was It Good episode ever, go back and listen to Detective Pikachu
Oh my
with
God.
Brett Rader.
Brett.
All right, I think that's going to do it on the live as well. Once again, thank you for those watching. We try and go live all the time because, losers.
Rangers in space.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.